Welcome back to another tutorial by MEA Technologies. Today we're going to be going through and adding a camera into the Emstone recorder. I'm going to load it up over here. You see I've just got this in my VMware box. We've set up the network. We've got a hard drive set up and connected. So we're going to go down into setup and camera. And these are our camera options here. You can see we've got nothing here at the moment. I've set up a name for the camera, test camera. You just double click in the field, type in the camera details, and hit enter. This won't save unless you actually hit enter. So if you do click away, it will revert back to whatever the camera name was before you hit enter. We're going to go down to where it says network camera sources. We're going to click on more, and we've got no cameras here. We've got a few options for adding cameras. We can either manually add by clicking on the add button, entering a camera name, test camera, the model. Being a high level recorder, we do have SDK level support for all these cameras here. So you're guaranteed that these ones, as long as the models are shown up here, they will work. The Emstone recorder isn't limited to these ones though. You can also set up almost any OnViv compliant IP camera on this system as well. As long as it's got OnViv, you know its details, the address, the port, username and password, you can set it up on this recorder as well. So almost any IP camera can work with this recorder, you're not limited. So being the one way we can add the recorder in manually, I'm going to select my brand name, which is MEA. I'm going to enter the details of the IP camera, which is 192.168.1.80. The port by default is 80. I haven't changed it, so I'm going to leave it as that. I'm not using HTTPS. I'm going to enter the username and password. Use audio is disabled by default. If your camera supports it, you can enable this, but that's totally up to you. And then I'm going to click check connection and inputs. If I've entered the details correctly, the status down the bottom should change and show me that it's connected to the camera. There we go, video 1, audio 0. This camera doesn't support audio. If you had one that did, it will show audio 1. So now that we've got the camera connected, we can also click on advanced settings. Generally we don't need to play around with this, but if you do have a particular camera that needs these settings changed around or mess with, you can enable or disable these options. You can change your network streaming quality. If you have a lot of cameras, in order to take up all the processing power of the recorder, you can change them to be at a normal, high or low quality to show a secondary stream. Generally cameras will have two options. You have your main profile and you have a sub profile. Your main one will be your high quality recording. It's a 2 megapixel camera, run at 2 megapixels, 25 frames, 12 frames, whatever it is. And you'll have a sub stream option as well. That will be either a 1 megapixel quality, a D1, CIF, whatever it is that you've got set up on that particular camera. You can change your options for that as well. The main thing that you don't want to mess around with is the record option. This one needs to generally always be set at media profile 1. That is your highest quality one that you want to be recording. So your live option here as well, this is what will always show on the live screen if you change this. Whereas the network one, if you were to go into one camera, 2 cameras, 4 cameras, depending on how you set it up in the advanced settings of the recorder, it will change those stream options as you view more cameras or show less cameras. So we can uncheck that option because we don't need to actually mess around with it. So this is manually adding a camera. I'll show you also how to scan and view your network for cameras. So scan UPnP/OnViv IP cameras. We can click on that and here's our network. Provided we set up the IP address detail settings along with the gateway, subnet and DNS, this should find all the cameras available on the network that are broadcasting. So we can change my name. You can see I've got quite a few cameras here, but it's also picked up a few other options here like my router. We've also got another NVR on here as well and a few other options. The camera that we want to add, which is the 1.180, is right here. As you click on these, you can see it's going through the OnViv protocol. It's got the IP address of the camera and the model number of the camera. We've got the UUID if you need to verify that. And then we've got down the bottom here as well IP address and the port it runs at. The NVR grabs these details from the camera directly. If you are using a different port, it should populate that as well. But you can then click on add, and you see we've got the option here. You can change the port if you need to. The model is OnViv, we change that back to MEA. The username, admin, password, and then again check connection and inputs, and down the bottom we should see the status change to video 1, audio 0. So now that we know that that camera is connected as well, we can also reposition it. So we can make it 1, 2, however many. If you've got 50 cameras here and you want to line them all up 1 to 20, you can. You just click the up and down arrows. Removing the camera you can do as well. So if you've added a camera accidentally or you've gotten rid of it that you don't need anymore, you can just click on the delete button, it will get rid of it. I'm going to click on OK, and we're here. So we're now at the back to the camera screen, and we got our network camera, test camera, and test camera 2. We can either manually select it from here. If we got the drop down box where we can click on NA, and it'll give us our camera options. If we go more than 2, it'll obviously show up all the cameras that we've got here available. You can also go down the bottom here and click on auto mapping. The order of what we've set up the cameras in the network camera sources, so test camera 1 on top or test camera 1 on the bottom. If we click on OK, if we click on auto mapping, it will automatically populate this field with that order. If you have made a mistake, you can either go back into more and adjust these, click on OK, click back on auto mapping, and it will revert or swap over to whatever you've set up. Alternatively, if you want, you can also then just add these cameras in however you want. I'm just going to add a couple of them here. These two are the same cameras, and I'm just going to repeat them across these 4 sources. You can also see that in the bottom here, I can change the number of cameras shown. If I do have a 16 channel recorder, which I do have, and I only have a maximum of 4 cameras or 9 cameras, whatever it is, I can change this slider down. I'm going to change it down to 4, and instead of having options for all 16 cameras showing, just to make it a bit simpler, it'll only show me 4 cameras. I'm going to click on OK. It will restart, do a soft reboot, and I should be able to see these cameras pop up now. So we've got test camera 1 as my main camera. You see over on the right hand side we only have 4 camera options now, and here's my camera. So I can click on multiple views. We've got 2 screens, we have 4 screens, and these are all my cameras. So you can see we have all our cameras. So you can see my network streaming source. We've got 1920 by 1080p, that's 2 megapixel, the bit rate, the frame rate, and then the IP address as well. We can check the recording options by going into setup and record, and you can see here the details of the recorder, the details that the camera is recording at. We're recording at 2 megapixel, 1080. We can change the frame rate if we want to. We can change the quality. It goes from 1 to 9 usually. 7 or 6 is where you want to keep it at, depending on your bit rate and your frame rate. You see the bit rate's grayed out. Because we've selected our model camera, it doesn't allow the NVR to manually change these options. If we set it up to OnViv, or if the particular camera allows options to change on the fly, it will have this option available to you. When you see it's 1536, it's usually more than enough for a general busy area. You can go into the camera and change this as you need to as well. We've also got the option to always record cameras. We can set up a schedule if we want. I don't really care for a schedule. We can choose to have everything to record all the time. You may as well just select always record cameras if you do this. But if you want to only record at particular times, so say during business hours, you go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's for camera 1. And I can do that for either camera 1, camera 2 will have a different option, camera 3 will have a different option, so on. But if I want to do it for all of them, click select all, and I'll apply this to the whole range. I'm going to click OK, and OK again. And you can see here, currently because our NVR is set to 4 AM, it's outside the general recording hours. So it's not going to record during this time. But if I want to, I can go down to setup, event, and then motion detection, and have it detect motion during those outside hours. So then I click OK. And if it does detect motion, obviously there's nothing happening on the camera at the moment. It will, out of hours of the schedule for always record, it will allow the camera to record the motion only during those outside times. That's pretty much all we're going to be covering with adding and setting up your camera. Please subscribe and comment down below if you have any particular tutorial that you want us to cover, any sort of information that you need from us. You can also visit our website, meatechnologies.com.au. There is a contact box there that you can message or call us from. Thanks for watching.